Hey y'all, uh, here is part 11 of the Lobo demo. We skipped forward a little bit again. We've got the, I don't know what to call these, the little fins that come off his boot. Drilled some holes and just stuck aluminum, some floral wire in there. And we started painting them. That's the main thing, yeah, is that we started putting some, we primered it and started putting some acrylic washes on it. Super, super light. And you know, just being totally honest, our painting is hit and miss. So we didn't want to do that really on video because God knows what was going to happen. So we're just keeping it real, real light. So that none of the, if we make mistakes, it's very small mistakes. We can go back and try to undo them. So we've got we had the knee pad that was just going to be a flat thing with 3 stars in it, which it is sometimes. But now it's going to be a skull, one of the skull knee pads. And so that's the change one change we've made. We've started doing the little skull belt buckle, and it has 2 bat ears, wing ears. And so this is a combination of, it's been baked probably 3 or 4 times. Probably maybe 3 times. Well, more than that because the arm demo was baked a couple of times. So whatever, it's been baked several times. We're adding new, fresh Sculpey firm with a little bit of petroleum jelly. Wipe it on, wipe it off. That allows us to add new stuff and then bake it, and it all becomes one piece. Okay, so another thing I did was the arm was feeling very stiff in a lot of the photos. Like, if you saw the photo I'm using, or probably was using, I'm still using it right now, but I'm going to change it, of my profile on Facebook. The arm is very stiff. So that was bugging me. So I dremeled out a place all the way across here down to the almaloy wire. Wiped it all up and down with the Vaseline, wiped it off, and then bent the arm a little bit. It was stiffer. That forearm was just more like this. It was real locked in place because I was just doing the arm demo, right? I was just doing the structure of the muscles. So then once it became Lobo, he needed more attitude. He needed more pose. So not a big deal with the Sculpey. It's real easy to dremel that stuff away, not hurt the wire at all, bend it, fill it back in, and when I bake it and sand it, no one will ever know. And it's all about the end result. So I know I'm prattling on without working, but so we're going to add some stuff. One of the things is the he's got like a little band-aid often over here, and then he's got the cross on his chest. Now, I had talked about cutting out a piece of styrene and doing Aves on that. But I don't know if I care that much. I'm just going to see if I can make it work with some Sculpey firm. And if it doesn't, not a big deal. I'll just take it off and make it the first way I was thinking. I'm already rethinking it because, like I was saying, it's flat. And so this chest thing is not a flat surface. But I do want to do it because it's very Lobo. And I'm not going to hate on that Lobo on Krypton, you know, because I remember seeing Wolverine, Hugh Jackman, in the like leather Matrix kind of suit, jumpsuit thing, and thinking, oh no. And then Hugh Jackman is great as Wolverine. So until you really see it in context of what they're doing, who knows? It might be great. So it's not just like a cross. It kind of, each thing kind of comes inward. Kind of like a Celtic type. But Brandon told me that he did the raffle, the Patreon raffle. Now, I haven't seen it, but so I don't want to really comment on it because I don't know what I'm talking about. But it sounds like a great idea, and I love it. And anything, you know, anything we can do, we're trying to look at it through the filter of Patreon, and how can we make it special for the Patreon members. So if we can get y'all things first, if y'all can see it first, if we can give you a discount on it, whatever it is. Okay, one other little thing is I've messed with the eyes, and maybe I shouldn't have. I don't really know. I'll have to go back and look at the pictures at some point. But they just, once I put the black on it, they weren't registering at all through the paint. So I had to make them a little bit more 3D. And so that's where they're at now. And I haven't really gone and painted them. So the eyes and the corneas are just sculpey. That's why maybe it might look a little weird. I'm not really going to take this a whole lot further. I just wanted to get some of the ornamental stuff on it so we can get some decent pictures. You know, it was just like just a demo when it started, so. But he's also got red eyes, so it has occurred to me to fill in the eyes and paint them red. But that's just something that I've been thinking about. Now I'm just looking at it through the camera. And it looks like it can be a little bigger. And another thing was I broke off the Sculpey axe. I left the wire and then did aves on here. So that way it's stronger, and if I was so inclined to sand it, it would get a real fine metal, real shiny, and it can just get a little cleaner than Sculpey can as you go down the grades of sandpaper and then into the sanding films. It's just going to get a little shinier than Sculpey. And so this tip, it will be way stronger. I'm not liking that cross already. I'm running into the thing I was talking about where it needs to be flat, and I think Juan asked a question about why am I painting it while I'm still working on it, and that is a good question because it doesn't really make a lot of sense. I'm just doing it because I'm just having fun. It's just a demo. I just wanted to throw some paint on it because just a little instant gratification. So another thing I was noticing with the reference is I might clean these thighs up, not worry about the detail too much, and then he has these straps that just kind of come across. Now this isn't really going to be it. I'm just showing you. So yeah, and he's slowly starting to fill out from this other side. Got some huge cracks. And I've just been dealing with them. Super glue. You know, if the crack is any bigger than this, then I might mix up some Aves or a plumber's putty and shove it in there. But right at about this size, I might just super glue it. See, like this big ass crack on the back of his leg? This is the area where super glue it, and before the super glue dries, just shove some Aves. And it's better, the fresher the Aves is, the softer it's going to be, and the more it's going to be able to go down in there. The harder it is, the less it's going to, and the less sticky it's going to be, technically. So, one thing I might do right here is just hit this with some super glue, because this is looking all gnarly. but I hadn't messed with it over here. But a little super glue. It's good. Another big ass crack right there. And this isn't going to be the true surface, so that's why I'm not that worried about what this looks like. I will give it a little wipe with some paper towel. But see, his thigh is going to be... Whoop, his thigh is going to be a little thicker than that. So I'm going to go over that. And you know, the more I turn it this way, the funnier looking it gets, because I just haven't messed with it much from over here. So right now I'm just looking how weird this wrist looks. And I know this paintbrush barely has any Vaseline on it. That's why I'm not really worried about wiping it off. It's because I know there's barely any on there. And you know, the pieces I'm putting on now are small, you know. This is pretty much the pose. Anything I'm adding now is just incremental little bits. Except for back on this other side where it's pretty gnarly. So when I'm putting these wrist muscles on right here, they're going to kind of be in strips. Just because he's so jacked. I'm going back and forth with an Aves Gamera, an Aves Wolverine, and a Sculpey Lobo. So what I did just a second ago, I thought I was going to dip my tool in the water. My mind just kind of going back and forth. So another thing that's very Lobo is these little things on his belt. I don't know what they are. They might be bullets. They might just be little kind of Vince Neil type adornment. Oh yeah, that is very Lobo. "19 minutes. Go, go, go." Dang it. Hope I wasn't working out of view for too long there. But yeah, I think the red eyes would go a long way because as I was looking at the reference, that is very Lobo. The kind of pupilless red eyes. They're just kind of round red without a cornea or whatever. And these things down here also scream Lobo. You know, they're just the little trademark 3. And so what I'm doing now, what we would call this between Brandon and I, this is like a micro edge. Okay, you've got the flat thing right there. And then you've got this secondary plane that is the top. And so that just adds a little bit of detail. It's an action line. And if you think of Rob Liefeld, when I say action line, understand that. But they're not all bad. It just means it's giving a direction, a motion. And they're there whether you realize it or not. So you might as well work with them. And the eye just loves this repeating boom, boom, boom. That's kind of fugly, but it's alright. We'll come back to that. And we might even bake it, sand it, carve it, and then add more to it. Or we might not. But they're feeling a little heavy to me, so I'm going to just lighten them a little bit. His knuckles are a little crazy. 25 minutes. So one thing that if we were going to keep going and going with this, would be the knuckles and wherever they're going to be, and then where the glove ends. So that's just a secondary little thing of detail. So that piece is too big, but just to make my point. That piece is too big. So just cut that in half and put it on here. And keep it real thin, because at 1/6 scale, this would be a very thin line. The end of the glove that I'm hopefully doing. Okay, so there's the first knuckle back here. And so hopefully that kind of looks like where the glove finger holes are ending. Whether it does or not, I don't know. Because I'm definitely still working on these knuckles. And especially this thumb knuckle, it just kind of dissolves into nothing. So let's try to make that. And you know, it's good to just look at your own thumb and hand. But we've got the Industry Giants thing coming up in Dallas. If you're in that area, it's going to be cool. I think Steve Wang is one of the other people. And last time we did a panel, and this time we're going to do our booth. So we'll set up our booth, and for I think Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and come on out and meet us and check out the sculptures if you can. And I've learned, for whatever reason, it's cutting me off around 31 minutes. I'll come back and do a little aves around this thing, and I'm still planning to do a little bit of, even just 3 or 4 links, I think will look sweet and add a lot of detail. So once I get this Band-Aid thing on, paint these little silver things, get this thing going, it's just getting more and more Lobo-y. And the face paint is a work in progress. But hopefully it's starting to look cool. And thanks everybody so much, if you're watching this, for supporting our Patreon. It really means a lot to us, and it helps us. And we'll be back with part 12 of the Lobo, and hopefully he will keep improving. All right, thanks y'all.